It's interesting. So, Salika, should we start, even though we're only a small group?
Yes, we can start, Maharaj.
Because you're recording, you're YouTubing, but then it's recorded on YouTube.
Yes, Maharaj. I've just put YouTube now. So we can start.
Maybe you can call some of the others if they're going to show up. I'm sorry about the time change, but I had to
Yeah,
move.
it's understood, Maharaj. It's just that the information was wrongly communicated. We can start, Maharaj. I'm trying to open the student book.
So it's chapter 18,
Yes, Maharaj.
canto. So they have this preliminary self-study. I don't know if anybody's been doing that, but to look up these things, you know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Ujirayet Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desa Tarine. Yeah, so we're chapter 18, first canto. This is a study. This preliminary self-study. Describe Parikit's attitude toward being cursed. How to drive away Kali. Advantages of Kali. Important stuff. Give one evidence that personalism is higher than impersonalism. Give proof that the caste system by birth is not practiced in the Vedic period. What argument do the Dvija Bandhus give to support the caste system? And it gives all the verse references. It's interesting. Okay, this is a good one. What was Maharaj Parikit's attitude toward being cursed? Anybody can remember?
The question again, Maharaj.
Yeah. What was Maharaj Parikit's attitude when he got cursed?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I think he saw it as Krishna's blessing, and he decided not to counteract the cause, and see an opportunity to prepare himself for the next life.
Yeah, he just took it. He is Krishna's mercy. Didn't try to, he just gave up everything to surrender. Okay, something we should learn from. What is technique of driving away Kali? Everyone should know that one.
Absorption in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord.
How to drive away Kali?
By taking shelter of the Lord through devotion and service.
Harinam Sankirtan. That's how to get rid of Kali.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. By also following the regulatory principles.
Yeah, Harinam Sankirtan, the holy name. Kaler Dosha Naderajan. Asyeka Gahadanam. There's one great quality. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Parambaje. That is the way to drive away Kali. Like Kirtan, he doesn't like the holy name. Okay, we're getting a big crowd now. What are some of the advantages of Kali Yuga?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
In the previous ages, just thinking of committing a sinful act, then one will bear the consequence. But in this age of Kali, until the act is performed, then before one can be punished for the offense. So that's one of the advantages of Kali.
Yeah.
One can attain this salvation simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord.
Yeah.
Also, it said that just by discourse of the Lord's activities, one can get rid of all disadvantages of the age of Kali.
Yeah. And just by thinking of a pious activity, you can get benefit of doing it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mercy.
Also, it is said that
we would be in big trouble if it wasn't that. And then in this particular age of Kali, even more so, Lord Chaitanya came. And we have Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, which is a special Kali Yuga. Special mercy of this Kali Yuga. Okay. What about the caste system is not proper for the Vedic? Anyway, Krishna says, Guna Karma Vibhagasha, that I made this system and it's based on qualities and work. Many places, not by birth. Why did Maharaj Pricket become fatigued?
Maharaj Pariksit became fatigued by the desire of the Lord, because the Lord wanted to give an opportunity for him to renounce the world.
That's right. So that the Srimad Bhagavatam would get spoken. Vedic principles for receiving a guest. Anybody know?
The question again, Maharaj, please.
What are Vedic principles for receiving a guest?
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is to speak about maybe his forefathers. There are wonderful activities about the guests, about the forefathers, and also about the guests. And what else to do?
So
Sorry, I can't remember
okay, well they have a thing called atiti. And that when a guest comes, you think of it as God coming and treat him very, honoring.
And again, the speaker also, he will be given some, he will be rewarded. The speaker will be eventually rewarded by the guest or
Anyway, treat him very honorably. Described like in the Battle of Kurukshetra that they were fighting, kill each other, but at night they would have visit each other's houses and be friends. Who is beyond punishment? Different kinds of people that don't get punished.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
I think those who are underage.
Yeah.
Then maybe somebody who is mentally incorrect or derailed also be excused.
Yeah, women, children, crazy people. How did Kali Yuga enter?
Due to the experience of Kali entered due to the inexperience and false prestige of the young Brahmana boy.
No, he entered the boy, but of course it's arranged that Kali will come, winter comes, rainy season comes. So it's Krishna's arrangement. But Cricket said he could stay where gold was being hoarded, and that became more and more common. And then wherever there's gold, the other sinful activities manifest.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah,
According to Bhagavatam, they said Kali Yuga came in immediately after the Battle of Kurukshetra. But it wasn't effective because of the presence of Krishna. So immediately when Krishna left the planet, then it started becoming active.
that's right.
That's,
But Yudhishthira could hold him back also. And Cricket, but when the time came, Cricket gave him that he could stay where gold is being hoarded. So. Okay, does everybody have this overview in front of them? You can read. There's like breaking down by the verses of the chapter. Chapter 1 through 9, chapter 10, just to give a summary of what happens in those verses. Somebody, you have it there, anybody? I hope. Who can read it? Verse 1 through 9, just one sentence.
Which verse, Maharaj? I didn't get.
It's in the summary, the after this question
After the
overview.
okay, overview 1 to 9. Sutta Goswami describes Maharaj Parikshit's attitude towards being housed. He surrendered to Sukadev Goswami and is dealing with personality of Kali.
Okay, then 10 through 23.
10 to 23, the sages of Naimisha Sarayan express their doubts about the 1,000-year sacrificial performance they have begun. They explain how their bodies have become black from the smoke. They glorify Sutta Goswami as well as the value of hearing about Krishna from great devotees and request him to describe the pastimes of the Lord.
That's interesting. They became black from the smoke. I mean, that means they were not offering pure things. They were getting contaminated. Then they got Sutta Goswami, and then they could. (21, 24 for 31).
Madhuma Prabhu, can you read?
okay, I will try. 24 to 31, okay. Sutta Goswami narrates how Maharaj Parikshit became extremely fatigued while hunting in the forest. While searching for water, he entered the hermitage of Samika Rishi, who was sitting silently in meditation. Not being received by the Rishi, Parikshit Maharaj, by the will of the Lord, became angry. The king thought that the sage who had coldly received him should thus be coldly rewarded. So he garlanded the Rishi with a dead snake.
Yeah. So we went over that quite a bit when we were reading the chapter. And this is giving us by the will of the Lord. And the last verses 32 to 50, that's a lot. See how
Can you read? Can you unmute and read?
Yes, yeah. Samika Rishi, the son Shringi, after hearing about the father being insulted, impudently cursed Maharaj Parikshit to die in 7 days by a bite from a snake bed. Samika Rishi laments when he heard that what his son has done and accepts responsibility for the injustice toward Maharaj Parikshit. He prays to the Supreme Lord to forgive his son's foolishness.
right.
This is how.
Yep. Thank you.
Now, all these discussion topics, these things, like any one of them, we could just a long time. You see that the Bhagavatam is such a thing. It's Krishna. So, like, we can write a summary of 20 verses here in just 2 sentences. But for each one of those verses, Prabhupada wrote really long purports. So, there's so many different angles and ways of looking at it. And it's good to have this summary idea and then go into it. And so the discussion topics, this is one that's important for all of us. The third one there, somebody can look it up, verse 28. The Lord creates awkward positions for devotees to drag them towards himself. That's verse 28 of chapter
18. Yep. The king not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place water and sweet addresses, considering himself neglected, and so thinking, he became angry. Should I read the purport, Maharaj? should read the purport, Maharaj.
Yeah.
The law of reception in the code of the Vedic principle states that even if an enemy is received at home, he must be received with all respect. He should not be given a chance to understand that he has come into the house of an enemy. When Lord Krishna, accompanied by Arjuna and Bhima, approached Jarasandha in Magadha, the respectable enemies were given a royal reception by King Jarasandha. The guest enemy, namely Bhima, was to fight with Jarasandha, and yet they were given a grand reception. At night, they used to sit down together as friends and guests, and in the daytime, they used to fight, risking life and death. That was the law of reception. The reception law enjoins that a poor man who has nothing to offer his guests should be good enough to offer a straw mat for sitting, a glass of water for drinking, and some sweet words. Therefore, to receive a guest, either friend or foe, there is no expense. It is only a question of good manners. When Maharaj Parikshit entered the door of Samika Rishi, he did not expect a royal reception by the rishis because he knew that saints and rishis are not materially rich men. But he never expected that a seat of straw, a glass of water, and some sweet words would be denied to him. He was not an ordinary guest, nor was he an enemy of the rich, and therefore the cold reception by the rishi astonished the king greatly. As a matter of fact, the king was right to get angry with the rishi when he needed a glass of water very badly. To become angry in such a grave situation was not unnatural for the king. But because the king himself was not less than a great saint, his becoming angry and taking actions were astonishing. So it must be accepted that it was so ordained by the supreme will of the Lord. The king was a great devotee of the Lord, and the saint was also as good as the king. But by the will of the Lord, the circumstances were so created that they became ways to the king's becoming unattached to the family connection and governmental activities, and thus becoming a completely surrendered soul. Let us speak of love. The merciful Lord sometimes creates such awkward positions for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mire of material existence. But outwardly, the situation appears to be frustrating to the devotees. The devotees of the Lord are always under the protection of the Lord, and in any condition, frustration or success, the Lord devotees. The pure devotees therefore accept all conditions of frustration and blessings from the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so that was one of the points. What are the Vedic ideas about greeting guests? And this is explained here. So an example, when Bhima, when they went to fight, Bhima and Jarasandha were fighting all day trying to kill each other. But at night they would have dinner together and be friends, talk about something. And they really were trying to kill each other. Not like the modern fighters who fight in the ring, but they're actually friends. It's all business. They're not trying to kill each other. All right, let's pick another one.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
I think they used to say an hungry man is an angry man. So part of the reason why it became to be hungry, when somebody is very hungry and very thirsty, combination, they have every tendency that they will easily become angry, even though he was a devotee.
Yeah. So there's some good points here. And I'm just going to read it. I'll read all of them, and then you can make comments on whichever one you like. All right? If you like one, even while we're reading it, then say something. We went over the advantages of the Kali Yuga already. Repentance occurs to a good soul as soon as he does something wrong. Now that's it. You know, we hear in the Christian talk about repent, repent. But most people don't understand what that means. What does really repentance mean? Somebody?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
If somebody regretted his activities and laments seriously about it and promise never to do it again, and that's a real repentance as a devotee. He regret his action.
Yeah. So Kali Yuga, many people think apologize or repent just means words. You know, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But that's not real repentance means we change. We change our whole life. We change the way we act. We feel really like I did wrong, and we try to do something to counteract it. Action. Hatred of lower orders of life began with this Brahmin boy. And then, you know, because of that, because the Brahmanas started looking down on everyone else, then the other caste started not liking the Brahmanas and hating the Brahmanas. And then it just got, you know, more and more crazy world. Then yeah, Kali found his opportunity. He could have influenced this young boy who was not trained up. You know, he wasn't spiritually strong actually. He had the power of a Brahmana, but in this cursing, we read a lot about Brahmanas cursing people, you know, throughout the Bhagavatam and different places. But Vaishnavas don't curse. Vaishnavas give blessings. Sometimes it looks like a curse, but Narada Muni can do that, but we can't imitate him either. So we're just trying to benefit everybody, help everybody. We don't want to curse anybody. Because if I curse you, I curse myself at the same time. Curses always come back on the person who gives the curse. And that's why we see so many miserable, crazy people, you know, because they're hating and they're cursing and they're getting the reactions of all their hatred comes back on them. And then the Sankirtan movement. Purify the atmosphere, send qualified preachers all over the world. So Prabhupada did that. He went himself, and then he trained up some devotees and sent them out all over the world. And it's still happening. And wherever we are, if you're in Lagos, you have to send them all over Lagos or all over, Apapa or all over, even because even one of those little areas is really big. There's millions of people that, don't know Krishna. For a devotee, he doesn't care, where he is, particularly just so he can preach anywhere. Chanting the holy name can free one from the disadvantages of low birth. We need to remember that for preaching, because, we get a little purified. It's easy to look at someone and think, oh, this person's really gone. He's really out of it, but if we can get anyone to chant the holy name, it can be elevated. Okay, anybody want to comment on any of these? Anyway, try to remember this one. The Lord creates awkward positions. We've read that already. It's for our advantage. Living in a material world is awkward. It's, it's unnatural. Birth, death, disease, sickness, fatigue. These things don't exist in the spiritual world. Okay, let's go on to chapter 19 then, because there's a lot of chapters to cover. I'm just going to ask questions, and these are the questions that we're supposed to be studying ahead of time. How can we be delivered from accidental sins? Salika? Come on. First place, some repentance, and then, but anyway, that's a whole nother big discussion that is quite common throughout the Bhagavatam. For every sin, there's some sort of prayaschitta. Who knows what prayaschitta is? Something you can do to counteract that sin.
Sorry, I didn't know my speaker was off. That prasita is atonement.
But then in the 6th canto, and right at the beginning, after hearing all about the hellish planets, then Parikshit asked why, people do the prayaschitta, but they keep coming back to sin again. So the only way to really get free from any kind of sin is by chanting the holy name. And being sorry, repenting, praying to Krishna, help me not to do it again. There's some, these are like basic things. Why didn't Parikshit ask to be pardoned?
Because he saw the situation as a mercy of the Lord.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah,
He also saw it as an opportunity to prepare himself because having been told that so time he's going to die, so he quickly make inquiry about what he's supposed to do and the opportunity to prepare himself for the next life.
yeah, he just understood it was the will of the Lord. And he also felt bad that he'd done something wrong. That he deserved it. What does the Varaha Purana say about the Jamuna and the Ganga? Anybody remember? I can look these things up quick.
It says that the Bible contains that the waters of Ganges and Yamuna are not different, and they have the potency to purify. That the Ganges is as good as Yamuna.
Right. There's no difference, but when the Ganges is sanctified 100 times, it's called a Jamuna. So that's simultaneously one and different. Just like 3 names of Ram can be equal to 1,000 names of Vishnu, the Vishnu Sahasranam. And 1 name of Krishna is also, it's a spiritual potency, the same. Then we can say, well, why do we chant all the time? We just want this so great. Because if we don't keep chanting, we're going to counteract it with our own stupid, foolish ideas. Why did the king inform the sages of his decision to fast until death? Arbo, anybody know?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
He gave the sages the respect and then to get their consent to the action that he wants to perform.
Yeah. Can you repeat that?
So, he gave respect to the sages, and then inform them of the activity that is about to perform. His intention.
Yeah, and he wanted advice what he should do, because he's going to die soon. So he was asking him what should a person who's especially at the verge of death, what should he do? Okay, this one should be easy. How did the demigods feel when they see someone going back to Godhead?
They feel greatly delighted and feel pleasure of seeing someone going back to God.
Right.
Yeah.
So they come to watch, like Bhishma, Parikshit, demigods were coming just to witness. So who did Parikshit give his throne to?
He gave this throne to his son.
That's right. Very good. How should householders feel when sages come to their doors?
They feel grateful because when the sage appears at the doors of the house of an householder, he comes to give them opportunity to connect to the Lord. So they feel grateful.
And for the students, they are trying now.
Right. They should be in ecstasy, happy, feel blessed and fortunate. Analogies. Someone just read the first analogy.
Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, chapter 19, text number 16. As a good son of the father behaves in a friendly way with all his other brothers, so also the devotees of the Lord, being a good son of the Supreme Father, Lord Krishna, sees all other living entities in relation with the Supreme Father.
In other words, we should love all devotees.
Yeah.
Look for the good. Try to help them. The class I gave the other day, I was reading off these symptoms of a good person, bad person, different types of good people. So one bad person is, he sees, if I see good qualities in you, I think how they could turn bad. But a good person sees a bad quality and thinks it could be purified. Okay, the next one, this is verse 23.
Advan Prabhu, can you read?
I should read?
Yeah.
Okay. 1:19:23. In the material world, these attributes, up to 17% of the Lord's attributes, are covered by the material energy. As the sun is covered by a cloud, the cover strength of the sun is very thin compared with the original glare. And similarly, the original color of the living beings with such attributes becomes almost extinct.
Right. So we have to remove, just like where I am now in the morning, it's completely cloudy. Now it's 8 o'clock morning, it's completely cloudy. But by 10 o'clock, there's no clouds. Can't see one anywhere because the sun gets up higher and it scares the clouds away. So we're clouded over and we can't see properly because the clouds are in front of our eyes, the clouds of illusion and Maya, and envy and lust. But when we put the sun of Krishna in front, then the clouds go away and we can see properly. Then we can understand Krishna's in everyone's heart and we can treat everyone with love and respect because Krishna's in their heart. Otherwise, people are so covered over and they're just exhibiting symptoms of life. They're like the walking dead, you know, they have that saying, dead man walking. They're just going into the restaurant, going into the pub, going here and there. Doctors disagree, so sages also have different prescriptions. When he asked, you know, different people were advising him to do different kinds of yoga, different kinds of yagas. But he took Sukadeva Goswami's advice that one should hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, like the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. So when Sukadeva Goswami came, all the other sages could recognize him somehow, even before he spoke. Even though he was naked and village people and children were following him and they thought he's just a crazy person. But these sages who know, they could tell by the structure of his body and everything that he's a great saintly person. Everybody offered respect. And they put him on the main seat to speak. So everybody paid obeisances except Vyasadeva and Narada Muni, who was his guru. And a few that were on a higher, they shook hands or something or embraced, but mostly everybody paid obeisances. Even so many great sages, so many demigods. All right. Any comments on that chapter? Okay, then we can move on. Chapter 19. Okay, there's a summary. Well, this still a summary of this chapter. And this is very good. All right, one by one, verses 1 to 7. Salika, you assign people because we're getting more
Yeah.
people here. Yeah. I'll call on Radhavan first. Then second one would be Infinix Note 8, and then Chitraputra. There's 3 different summaries there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
So verses 1 to 7. Maharaj Parishit laments that he insulted the sage. He could have gone to the Muni to beg his pardon, but the news of his imminent death was conveyed to the king with so much regret by the Muni that the king did not want to shame the Muni further by his presence there. He decided to prepare himself for his imminent death. Fasting, he sat down on the bank of the Ganges and gave himself up to the lotus feet of the Lord.
Verses 8 to 24. Many rishis arrived. Maharaj Parishit welcomed them by bowing his head to the ground and tells them of his decision to fast until death. The demigods scattered flowers over the earth and beat celestial drums, and the sages glorified the king's decision. Maharaj Parishit inquired from the sages of the duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die.
All right. And the last one, 25 to 40. Somebody read it? I assigned somebody. Come on.
Yeah, I won't be able to share screen any longer because I'm on phone now, Maharaj.
The great sages are not unanimous in their response to these questions. Then Sukadeva Goswami, inspired by Lord Krishna, approaches the assembly. Sukadeva, only 16 years old, does not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He's surrounded by women and children. He's naked, and his bodily hue resembles that of Lord Krishna. On Sukadeva's arrival at the meeting, everyone except Vyasadeva, Narada, and a few others stand up. Sukadeva is offered the presidential seat at the meeting. The king then questions the sage using sweet language about the duty of one who is about to die. Now, who is about to die? Huh?
King Parishit.
Yeah, that's one, but everybody. That's the point we're supposed to learn. We don't know. Everybody's going to die soon enough, even if it's going to be 50 years from now. Right? But it's not a very long time considering eternity. But we don't know. It could be this afternoon. It could be tomorrow. But it's going to be, so if this is the high consciousness, if we can think every day, this might be my last day, so what am I going to do with this day? Okay, I have to take a little break very quick, but read through these discussion topics and I'll be right back. Just read them, and if anybody wants to, you hopefully want to discuss something or look something up, we'll do that.
Saliga Prabhu, please, which chapter?
We are just rounding up the overview of chapter 19.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Prabhu Salika, you are still around? You promise you will go? Or you have changed your mind?
You said what, Prabhu?
I said you say you will leave us after some time, or have you changed your mind?
Yeah, I've already started moving. We have food for in fact, I'm already late.
Oh, okay. So you are
It's
using your
quarter
phone now?
past. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
using my phone now to.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we already fixed food for life, so and the food are already cooked.
no postponement.
Yeah, we can't postpone, but Shaddam is there. That's to be taken.
Okay. Thanks
Hey,
for
I'm
your.
glad to hear all the food for life. It's a very important thing anywhere, but especially in Africa. But we want to hear about book distribution also. It's much easier to distribute food. People know that they're hungry, but the books, they don't know they need it. We have to convince them. We have to teach them this is what you need, It's good for you. So Priket's question is the basic principle of the Bhagavatam. So again, what is that question? Come on, we've been saying it again and again. What is Priket's question?
Krishna Maharaj, what's
Yeah.
duty in case of dying?
Yeah. It's actually what is the duty of any human being, but especially one who's about to die. And then we're all about to die, right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Yeah.
if somebody in the hospital and they told him that he won't stay more than 2 weeks to die, I don't see how much the person can do in that kind of situation.
Well, Priket had only 1 week. He just dedicated it for hearing the glories of the Lord. So we don't know how much time we have, so we should dedicate our time. Then we can become happy. Not happy exactly, but our life can be useful. Everybody's going to die. And, we have to realize that there's the next life also. They have a saying now that's common with the students in America, university, I guess high school even, YOLO, YOLO. It means you only live once. So they like that. That's the atheistic idea. You only live once, so party hard, take advantage of this life quick, because it's going to be over. And if you don't party now, you miss out. Just do whatever you can to enjoy your senses. A very foolish idea. But even in India, you see, I saw a sign in Bombay, it said, drive carefully, you only live once. That's in India. Another one was in Vrindavan. It was advertising luxury apartments. And the picture showed a Indian lady dressed very opulent, Western, evening gown kind of dress. And it said, buy this apartment now, you only live once, Right in Vrindavan. So Kali Yuga is really trying hard, Then there's others that think, if I live a pious life and enjoy, I can take birth again and enjoy more. And I can just go on and on and on, taking nice births, go to heaven, become a king, whatever, as long as I do the yagyas, and, that's another foolishness. Because we have the story of King Nirga, you make one little mistake and Another very important one is verse 26. Please look it up. I don't know if anybody's in charge of sharing the screen now. Did Sullivan, empower someone to? The son of Vyasadeva was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and other parts were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful, like a conch shell. So the point is that a person is honored for his achievement and not for his advanced age. Of course, we should respect the elderly because they have had more experience, but not that the elderly should disrespect the young people that might, be able to do the same job better. One village we went to in, I don't know if it was Ghana or Nigeria. That village was, their normal practice was the oldest person in the village became, the leader, the king or whatever they called him. And we were talking to the guy, he was very, very old, but he said, now we're going to change that policy because us old people, we don't know the world, and the young people know much more about what's going on. So we can't function now in a modern society without people that understand the modern society. So we're finding that in our movement. We need young people. They have a different kind of energy. They want to expand. They want to grow. They want to, they don't want to just preserve their life. And we can increase all our spiritual activities and benefit the old people much more by letting old people take more responsibility.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
So because he's the son of Vyasadeva and he'd heard the whole Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva, he was more experienced than all the other sages, even though he's only 16. And he went on saying, yes.
Sorry, I have just a comment about this topic. If you look at it today, you see that today is a digital age. Unlike in the past, for instance, myself, when I was in the university, we were taught analog system. But nowadays, everything is digital now. So it was even my son and younger people that actually put me through into the digital system. So I have to put shame aside. I have to humble myself so much. And I was able to understand the digital system. So I don't know if you understand.
Yeah. That's right. Good. So we want to engage the young people who know all these things to help our preaching very much. Because by using internet properly and all these social medias and everything, we can reach out to so many more people so much quicker than by going around physically. We need to do that also, but we need to utilize everything everything that Krishna has given us, everything that Kali Yuga is providing. All right, so we're moving along pretty good here. So we can go to okay, open book assessment questions for these last 5 chapters of the first canto. That's what we've been discussing. So that's these are the tests you get, right? Answer 2 of the following essay questions in 600 to 800 words. So that's pretty liberal type of test. That's up to everybody to choose, you know, which questions you can answer. 600 to 800 words, that's about, what, 2 pages typewritten, something like that. You can study those on your own. Okay, by the end of the unit, wow. This is a lot, you know. Let's read these through so you can meditate on what you should be thinking about. And the way to, you know, do this is to preach, talk to people about it. You know, when you teach something, you learn it. That's the best way to learn something is by teaching. There are like statistics. By just hearing, you remember so much. By hearing and this, and but by teaching, it solidifies it. Chapter 14. Present overviews of 14 to 19 with connecting links. Discuss how the Srimad Bhagavatam can remove the anomalies of human society. And it's giving verses, you know, that tell these things. So it's really laid out for us, you know. List some of the inauspicious omens noticed by Yudhisthira and discuss these, which are commonly seen in modern times. That's where we started when we started this series. So who can remember any of them?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
I think one of the omen was that there was irregularities in the seasonal changes.
Right. And we're seeing that for sure nowadays, right? There was a lot of them. So so anyway, they're all very common nowadays. Greed, you know, different things are coming in. Cheating, even between friends. Always quarreling. he was starting to notice all these things happening. Says that people in general are accustomed to greed, anger, and pride, and Yudhishthira noticed all those things. Comment on the contemporary relevance of the Kshatriya's duties in relation to Arjuna's apparent dejection. Think about it. Chapter 15, somebody read that? How did that just get turned upside down?
Chapter 15. Do we read it? Okay. Explain how Lord bestows and withdraws our powers, as he did with Arjuna, referencing text 5 and text 21.
You got it on your screen? On my screen, it just flipped.
Should we go to the text?
Yeah, read it.
Okay,
Summary
text
of
5.
chapter 15.
Do we read text 5 or the summary? I don't know.
This is learning objectives, what we should be learning from these chapters. Salika Das is the host again. Kamalaksha, have I heard from you? You're in the dark there, it's hard to see you.
I'll go to see you, Maharaj.
Do you have that? You can read it? You can see what this is? It's learning objectives from chapter 16. Which I can't see at the moment. Somehow mine flipped upside down. Never had that happen before. Okay, got it. Explain the welfare state, real versus modern. Explain the connection between Brahminical culture and cow protection.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
That's something that, there's not much of that going on in the world, cow protection. Practically none. Cow torture, cow killing is the standard. So the Lord Chaitanya, he was thinking, how can the Kali Yuga is so bad and people are just absorbed in destroying the Brahminical culture and killing cows. How can they be helped? And who knows what the answer was from Haridas Thakur. same answer we give for everything. Chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But Brahminical culture is mode of goodness. Cows are mode of goodness. And ghee and milk and all these things are important. And even scientists are starting to understand more about the value of the cows. The cow dung is the most best fertilizer. It's pure anyway, antiseptic. Cow urine can be made into so many medicines. Even cow dung, some doctors use cow dung for medicine. In many different ways, for cleaning your house, cleaning your body. It's complete opposite of ordinary. Every other animal is very abominable. And it also makes good fuel for cooking, for heating. And when the bulls plow the field, their feet cut the earth in such a way that it makes it much better, a much more suitable place for whatever is needed to make things grow. The tractors smash everything, smash the ground down. Then the worms can't get in, it's too hard. Then they put big heavy duty chemicals on it. But the cow dung has all the chemicals you need. So the Brahmins and the cows are meant to work together. Lists the general symptoms of the age of Kali. I think we just said those, right? Greed, lust, greed, anger, cheating,
Quarreling.
quarreling, all the things that are standard in modern day. Look at the newspaper, right? Look at the advertising. There's so much quarreling and disagreement. The husband and wife can't get along. Fathers and sons can't get along. Chapter 17. This is a good one for us to really think about because it's not natural. It's not natural in modern society. Discuss the devotee's attitude towards suffering with reference to Dharma the bull. Kamalakshana, can you say something? You've been present throughout all this reading. What did Dharma the bull say when Cricket asked him, who's done this to you? The major part of the Bhagavatam. I don't want to give it away, but someone can look it up. Verse 18 of chapter 17. Can anybody put it on the screen? I don't have access to sharing. He said, who is in charge that can give me screen share? I don't know if Shalik is actually there or not. Anyway, I'll read it. O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to sustain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Very interesting. So they don't want to accuse anyone. You know, it's not ordinary. Usually we're in Kali Yuga, everyone's very busy with the blame game. We're always blaming someone else for our troubles. Who did this? Who's causing this to me? I will eliminate them and then I will be happy. That's how the demoniac thinks, you know. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this person is my enemy, I will kill him and then I'll be happy. I'll get his money also. So all the different philosophers, they give all these different versions. So they knew that Kali was a direct cause, but they knew that without the sanction of the Lord, Kali couldn't do it. So they don't want to blame him. Now that's a tough one, but we have to punish wrongdoers, but at the same time, we have to understand many things. Okay. Okay, here's an easy one. List the 4 principles of religion and the activities that destroy them. Madhavan?
Yes. Yes. The first I'm confused. Okay, the 4 principles of religion. The cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, and austerity. And then the activities to destroy them. We have to follow the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no gambling, illicit sex.
Right. And it gives you know, which one connects, you know, how does it, cleanliness, what causes uncleanliness?
The cleanliness, avoiding illicit sex.
Right.
And then mercy, not killing other living entities like animals.
I think it says But sometimes we hear different, but meat eating destroys austerity. Meat eaters just, they'll do anything to satisfy their tongue.
Mo wà ní Ṣíàkà, mo ti ní kí David gbé kẹ̀kẹ́ wá. Ọlọ́mọ jẹ́ kán wọ́n kó tún máa ṣàánú ìlú. Kò fomi sínú mọ́tò ẹ̀gẹ́, ó kàn fẹ́ pa mọ́tò ìpínlẹ̀ ègé ni. Ó ti fọ́ radiator mọ́tò yìí, mo dẹ̀ sọ fún ìjọba kan ọkọ̀ mi ti kú òun bẹ̀. Ó dẹ̀ mọ̀, ó tún wá kò rọmi sínú ẹ̀. Mọ́tò ti ṣe overheating.
That's it. Background noise.
No, I'm not sure. Thank you. I'm not just.
Ṣé o ti bá mi àárẹ̀ ìwé ìjẹ́ ti gbàgbé gan? Bí a kò bá mi, mo ní kò bá mi.
I'm hearing a lot of noise from somewhere. And intoxication destroys mercy.
Maharaj, what about austerity, intoxication? One can be very careless and extravagant by intoxication. Is it correct, Maharaj?
Well, yeah, they all work together, but specifically it's usually listed like intoxication destroys mercy. We see that there's so much violence, intoxicated people killing their brother, killing their mother, no mercy, killing their babies, only care about themselves. So the Four Vedic principles, promote these things. People will think. Now I just heard one devotee that he's in America. He does a lot of preaching in the university. So people are changing, they're getting more and more learned. Because when Prabhupada first came to America, when you mentioned the Four Vedic principles, people just thought, oh my God, it's torture. You might as well be in prison.
Yeah, you're trying to reach me.
No meat eating, how can you live? You'll starve to death, and no gambling.
I was trying to reach you. How far though?
There's a lot of noise coming from somewhere, I don't know.
It's coming from Salika Prabhu.
No, that's how far. Houses, no.
So anyway, he said, the students now, they'll say, okay, I can understand that intoxication is not good. That makes sense. Okay, we know that meat eating is, causes a lot of diseases and is this and that. Or even a lot of people thinking the cruelty to the animals. And they say even illicit sex, they can understand, that there's so many diseases and divorce, unwanted pregnancies, all these abortion, all the trouble, is because of unrestricted sex life. But they say, what's wrong with gambling? I don't see what's wrong with gambling. There's nothing wrong with. I used to get that in Ghana when we used to go on that radio, the GBC radio. And they would ask many times, what's wrong with gambling? They can't see why is gambling bad, right? But gambling promotes dishonesty and cheating. And also it creates this idea that you can just enjoy life. You can win and then you can just be rich forever or something. And the fact is that nobody really wins. In a casino, like if you're going to invest money, you want to know you're going to get back more than you put in, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
If somebody tells you, and devotees get cheated because somebody promises them you're going to get so much and you believe it when it's not possible. But the statistics are for gambling in a casino that you get back 17% of what you put in. So if you put in 100 CD or Naira or whatever, you'll get back 17. That's not a very good deal.
It's a shortage.
Yeah, that's in the long run. But because it's so illusory that in the process of gambling, you may win big at one time and then get all excited and throw it all away, even more than you won, you know. That's what happens. So many families are broken up because of gambling addiction. Many people commit suicide in the parking lot of the casinos. Many become so depressed because they're losing, but they can't stop. They keep thinking, I'm going to win. They end up stealing money, you know, in order to keep gambling. It drives people crazy. It's the most addictive of all the addictive, you know, sinful activities. Gambling is very difficult to stop. It's psychological. So we need to learn to explain that. A few people win and they advertise that like anything, but they don't advertise all the people that lose. Another thing is if I win, say the lottery, I win at gambling, other people lose. I got the money that they lost. And it might have been somebody's life saving. It might be that somebody's children aren't eating now because they lost the money in the gambling. And I have that money and I'm thinking I can enjoy it, but actually I have to take all the reactions. So it's not a very good idea. And according to Vedic law, you can't keep it. If you win money by gambling, you just can't keep it for very long. It gets one way or another gets taken away. Usually people just waste the money they win, or somebody steals it.
The money also go back to the gamblers. The money go back. You want to put more money to get more money, so you feed back the money again.
Yeah, they just keep trying. So that's why we say don't gamble, because it just drives you crazy. And it's thinking you can get something for nothing. See, you just win and then you won't have to work. And it's just also not possible.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, one more thing, chapter 17. An outline of Prabhupada's guidelines to defeat Kali and bring about peace and harmony of the world. Now that should be easy for any devotee to do, right? Because that's all we talk about. That's our life. That's ISKCON. Put the 7 principles of ISKCON, you know, that Prabhupada gave when he founded the society. All right, somebody was going to say something. We have 5 more minutes.
Okay. Okay. Like what I want to say in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna placed emphasis that we should work. When he even said that, even though he is self-sufficient and he doesn't need anything, but he still engaged in his prescribed duties, and that even if he failed for a second, the heart itself will miss its orbit. So he emphasized that we should work also. But if you gamble, then you won't work again. So it's contrary. Gambling is contrary to Krishna's instruction.
That's right. It's contrary just to the laws of nature because you have to work. So what happens is people gamble and they have to work harder to get money to gamble. But they're just thinking it's enjoyable. It's pathetic. I was in one, in Bombay, I went to the health spa. And so there were 3 or 4 young Indian boys in there. And you know, and when you walk down the street in Bombay, you see beggars and hungry children picking in the garbage. And then there were these 3 or 4 young boys And they were talking about how they like to go gambling and how they don't, it's not bad because they just take a certain amount of money and then when they lose that, they finish. So they're not risking anything, you know, ho, ho, ho. It's just fun because they're thinking I might win, you know. But you just see that, you know, they don't care about all the people that are hungry. They just go and throw their money away at the casino so that some criminals that own the casino can get really rich. Yeah. And the casino is just a place for, you know, for intoxication and prostitution and everything else. They all go together. The governments know that whenever they legalize gambling, there will also immediately all around there, there'll be much prostitution and crime and all kinds of things go along with it. But they make money because there's a big tax on gambling. And the government calls it a voluntary tax. People are happy to pay that gambling tax. They don't even realize they're paying tax. They think I'm just, the government's so kind, they've opened this nice casino and I can go online and gamble. Then when you online gambling, you lose more money, you lose it faster. Okay, I think we can stop it. We finished. Chapter 17. 2 more chapters of the first canto. I have to stop because I'm supposed to start another class in a couple of minutes. It's a long day today. So I hope it wasn't too inconvenient. Tomorrow we can do it at the same time. Is that all right?
Okay.
And so I like it. We hear from you and everyone else, you know, a lot of reports about Food for Life. That's really good. It's a huge step forward in our, you know, engaging more devotees and also in, you know, connecting with the people on certain levels. Now we have to think how to increase book distribution, you know, team up with Gana Chakshush. He did 200 Bhagavad Gitas in one Saturday, and he's got orders for much more. So those people are out there also. Those are the people that they have money, they have education, and they're looking for something more. So I know Salika does a lot of college preaching. Get the books to them. More and more books are coming somehow or other. Very merciful devotees in the Arabic countries are donating books for us. Okay, thank you all very much. Let's unmute and
Thank you very much,
chant the
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare
End meeting. It says I'm the host. Huh.